Yo, what is up, boys? My name is Gib. I have been testing Alice extensively on the creator server, but today will not be creator server gameplay because, you know, it is still in the private session. But I want to talk about Alice, since you pull for pro cons, all that type of stuff. Let's get right into it. First thing I want to say, Alice's weapon is absolutely insane for physical carries. Her weapon, I think, is better than Jane's weapon on Jane. It's insane on Piper, and then obviously on her it's crazy. Now, one of the reasons, actually, I probably can't even go into that, so I won't say that. No, I'll very vaguely say it. One of the reasons Alice's weapon is so crazy, obviously you can go, look up this information, dreamers, but her weapon compared to Jane's weapon, you have to do dodge counters to get all the damage bonus. Let's just say you don't got to do that to get Alice's weapon bonus. Next thing, how about Alice versus Jane versus Piper? From my findings, testing these same teams all at C0R1, they are pretty close on Alice's SIG, which is pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think they would be that close to each other. Alice is obviously on top, but Jane and Piper did end up getting pretty close. The craziest thing is that Jane and Piper are actually almost the exact same scores at very high investment, both using Alice's SIG, which I thought was insane. I personally was not able to get up to a Jane scoring with Piper, but I don't play Piper. So yeah. Also, by the way, I will have, Alice footage coming in the future here, so, make sure to stay tuned for that. If you're new, sub up to your boy, but, just a little put a note in there, sub, like, comment, all that good stuff to help you out. But yeah, time scorings, all that type of stuff. Alice has been on top. Just to throw some numbers out there, I was getting a 51K biggest number. I think I can make that 51K probably like a 52, 53K. The Miasmic Fiend, she has a very RNG last phase. It's not really last phase. It's like, I guess it is the secondary phase of her, so it is her last phase. But it's after you get the third stun on the Fiend, she has a window where she can either do attacks that you can parry, or she could just start spamming reds. And as far as I know, it's completely RNG, and I think that changes your score, no troll, like 3K points, like 1 to 3K points score difference just from if she does the parries or not. The one you want is the parries. The parries give you a lot of build up, they give you days, all that type of stuff, which is really good. So yeah, I think that's been my biggest thing on the runs. But yeah, Jane and Piper were very similar to each other, like I said, and Alice came out on top, as she should, with her weapon and all that stuff. In terms of just Jane power creep, it does seem like Alice is a direct boost up to Jane, but Alice and Jane do not play similarly in any way or form. They have two completely different play styles. Evelyn is more similar to Jane than, or not to Jane, to Alice than to Jane. I think Alice and Evelyn are they're like this, I'm not gonna lie, in gameplay, and I think that's sick. As an Evelyn gamer myself, I love Alice's gameplay. Her gameplay is absolutely crazy. Obviously you can try it out in the story, get a little taste of some Alice gameplay yourself, but yeah, her gameplay very like Evelyn, which is really nice. Also, strength wise, Alice is very strong. She's able to always proc a disorder with the no disorder, so eventually if somehow there was a mono physical anomaly team that was meta in the future, she would be crazy with it. But right now, let's say you're running Alice, Vivian, and Yuzaha, the disorders, the blooms, her disorder, the assaults, they're just going crazy. They're just bang, 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 bang. They're just going crazy. She does very high damage. I would definitely rate her up with Evelyn, surprisingly, surprise, surprise, in damage. She's an anomaly character, and I think anomaly characters overall usually go higher than attacker characters, but it does also depend on what type of content you're playing, obviously, because, it could be anomaly shield content or it could be attack shield content. So in my opinion, I think she is I'd say she's like Evelyn tier, which is pretty high. That's right below Miyabi for me. I know people have their own, you know, agreements, disagreements on that. I think Evelyn, if you play her good, she's right below Miyabi. So I think Alice is right there, also below Miyabi. I guess Yijuan could be above them, you know, because Yijuan's like, you know, she got her things and everything. I think all of them, though, if you're playing against it, type weakness makes a lot of, it kind of make or breaks a lot of DPS in the game, I feel like. So unless you're Miyabi with, you know, Shred, I mean, realistically, all of them are insane in their, you know, in their category, in my opinion. Next thing is playing Jane and Alice together. It is a playable comp, but I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather just play Jane solo, Alice solo, DPS. Like, obviously not a solo team, like one-person team, but, you know, play them by themselves, you know? Or I feel like playing Jane right now, I feel like playing Alice right now. I think playing them together is a little bit cope, and the reason why is the team is insanely convoluted. When you are playing Jane and Alice together, you have two very meter-hungry on-field DPS. You have Passion Stream with Jane, and you have Alice's EX that you need to get off. There's just too much going on, in my opinion. Now, the team's not impossible to play, but I don't think it's worth it for what you could get out of playing something else. Now, if you don't have any other things and you wanted to play Jane and Alice, it's not the worst thing in the world. It is good. Having Jane on the team does allow Alice to crit, but you're going to be putting in a lot of effort for sure to get that team to actually perform at a good level. And in terms of a pool rating, if you don't have a DPS, or if you're just looking to pick up an anomaly DPS, I think she's like a solid 7 out of 10. If you already have a bunch of DPS, you know, maybe like a 6 or a 5 out of 10. She is a very strong character, but you don't need her. I think she's very cute. She got the bunny, you know, she got the heterochromia, you know, that type of stuff. Yeah, I don't think she's like a must pull in any regard. No character in the game is really a must pull besides like raid up supports, but even then, those aren't must pulls either. You know, you clear the game like Nicole, Lucy, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I think she is a very strong character, but, you know, up to you if you think you need her on your account. She has very good synergy with all of the anomaly supporters like, you know, sub DPS Yanagi, and then Bernice, Vivian, etc. Yuzaha is her best support. If you don't have Yuzaha with her, she is still playable. I do think the Astra Jane team feels better than having Alice with Astra. I think Yuzaha is very nice with Alice. That's like butter playing those together. When you have it with Astra, not as clean in my opinion, but that's just me. But lastly, overall thoughts, all that type of stuff. I could talk about teams. I was kind of talking about that, talking about pool rating. She has literally the same teams as Jane would, you know. Besides, you're not playing her with Seth. You know, I doubt anyone's thinking, you know, wondering if you play with Seth. But, you know, if you're a Seth gamer out there, me personally, I would stick the Seth back to the Jane. You know, keep the Seth with the Jane. You know, if you're a Seth gamer, keep it over there. My opinion. But Alice, like I said, you have Alice, you know, Alice Bernice Yuzaha, Alice Vivian Yuzaha, you have Alice Yanagi Yuzaha. Then, you know, replace Yuzaha in all those teams. You could add Astra. Then you also have Nicole you could have in there. You have Lucy if you're playing with Bernice. That team is a little bit on the lower end in my opinion. You also have, what else did I try? Those are the main teams realistically. I feel like that's what most people are playing. Most people, you have like your double anomaly DPS. So one of those is probably, you know, with you. I did try Alice and Miyabi. Alice Miyabi team is actually really fun because you have two enhanced basic attacks you're playing for. And while Miyabi is she's kind of a greedy-ish on-field DPS, Miyabi does benefit off of, Miyabi can still get value while she's off-field if you're proccing to Sworders, which is nicer than Jane. It feels way nicer than Jane because at least you can build up your, you know, your orbs on Miyabi and then swap to her and then, you know, hit your EBA, go on Alice, or her EBA, go back. Now you would have to choose your on-fielding, you know, here and there, but that team felt pretty nice to me, in my opinion. I think I got to test it a little bit more, but yeah, that's about it for teams. Overall thoughts though on Alice, I think she is a very solid character. Like I said, not a must pull in any regard, but a extremely strong DPS for sure. If you want to pick her up, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I don't think you need her engine as well. However, it is very strong, as you know, gacha game engines are. All these gachas, you know, they always have the character, you got the engine gives them a big boost, you know, but you can clear without her engine. I was getting 40Ks with no sig, I think. No sig teams, I was getting 40K. So, yeah, pretty solid there in that regard. Me personally, I'm picking up Alice. And because I am not interested in Seed anymore, I am definitely going to be picking up her sig as well. So I'll have showcases with that. When I'm able to actually post, you know, Alice content, I will be posting a DPS showdown between Piper, Jane, and Alice, so stay tuned for that. And I will also be posting maybe a guide or like a short how to play type of thing. I'm not big on guides, one, because no one knows who I am, so I put all work into a guide. No one checks it out. So let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck. But I'm not the biggest guide guy. I just like telling people like, yo, do this. You know, I don't know. I feel like the gacha characters are not that crazy to understand. Alice is one of those. She's like, you fill up her meter, you know, you fill up her EX, bam, do the big she drops her like demon star on the floor for whatever reason, and then she does her, you know, aura farm walk back to the thing, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Alice, very solid character to pick up. If you miss her, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, but she'll be coming out soon. You know, videos will be coming out soon. TM. Hope you guys enjoyed. If this video gave you, you know, some sort of help, bonus, or all that, I don't know. If you have questions, ask me down below in the comments. And good.